Oh, let me grab my water. This is gonna be a long video, but I need water. Hello everyone, my name is Morgan and today I'm gonna be sharing the ultimate guide to falling in love with reading. So I got back into reading in 2020 and I pretty much followed these steps to a T, and that's what really sparked my love for reading. So I'm gonna share them with you and hopefully someone else can benefit from this. So I'm gonna break it down into a few steps that are really simple and attainable and accomplishable, and hopefully they help you out. Main first thing that you need to do is research. You can't just go into it blind. I know that you probably just want to go to the bookstore, pick out a book, read it, and like think you'll fall in love with it. But don't do that. Don't do that, okay? You need to research because you don't know what types of book you'll like, the kind of way you want to consume books. Like there's a lot to digest here, so I'm gonna help you. So the first thing you need to figure out is the way you want to consume books. And I don't mean like consume, I mean like consume. You know what I mean? So there's three main ways you can consume. I don't know the right word. I'm gonna say consume. You get what I mean. And it is either in a physical form, and an audiobook form, or an ebook form. To have all three of these options for free, if you don't know what you're gonna want, it is to just get a library card to your local public library, and then you have access to the physical books there, and then you download the Libby app and you have access to audiobooks and ebooks. And again, all of this is free, so I really think this is a great way to start if you're not sure if you're gonna like physical books or ebooks and stuff, and it won't hurt the bank, and it's like no harm, no foul because you're not spending money, and it helps support your local library, which is a big win too. Another great thing about Libby is that they have books that are compatible with Kindle on Libby for free, so you can download them for free and then read them on your Kindle. Now, if you just want to read physical books, library card is still an option, but there's other options for that too. So you can go to a bookstore, local bookstore, Barnes & Noble, Target, whatever you have available to you, and then buy those books and read them. Or if you just want to read ebooks, you can either buy a Kindle, which I know is a little bit pricey, but it does come with 3 months of Kindle Unlimited, which is a bunch of books you get for free. And then there's also the Kindle app where you can read ebooks on there too. Okay, so after you've kind of picked the way you want to consume your books, don't buy any books yet. We're still not to that step yet. Sorry, but don't buy any books. I promise you'll want to hear this next step. So we're still in the research phase, and you need to figure out the types of book that you want to read and like the genre you think you'll like. So in order to do that, I would suggest to get on the book side of social media. So this is Book Talk for TikTok, Bookstagram for Instagram, BookTube for YouTube, and I'm sure there's other ones on other platforms, but those are the main ones that I use. And this is just going to help you figure out the types of books that you'll want to read, because if you go in blind and you like start with a thriller, let's say, and then you absolutely hate it, you're gonna probably be discouraged and stop reading and just give up completely, and we don't want that to happen. So you really need to think about the types of books that you want. If you want romance, thriller, the types of tropes maybe you'd like, if you want it to be YA or you want it to be adult, all that kind of stuff will help you figure out the perfect book for you to start with. That way you'll fall in love instantly. So this really helped me literally get back into reading. I was on Book Talk, scrolling Book Talk, and I was like, oh my gosh, like some of these look really interesting, like should I give them a try? And that's the whole reason I started reading. I got the book and it was really popular on Book Talk at the time. Everyone was reading it and saying how like the ending was crazy, and it's We Were Liars, by the way, if you want to start with that. And I was instantly hooked and like read to the very end because I wanted to know what happened. And then that catapulted my reading journey. And I think it's a great way to get recommendations, to learn about genres, to learn about book tropes, all that stuff. So a few things that you can search on these social media apps to help you find books is convincing you to read blank, and then you can like write a book title. Maybe you've heard of a book title. You can look at book aesthetic, book recommendations, great books, my 5-star books, all that kind of stuff is really great to get book recs. You can also watch people's 2023 wrap-up videos or the best books of 2023, because that will help you get a bunch of books that like everyone really liked. But if this all seems a little bit too overwhelming, I'm just gonna give you 5 books that I really like and I would recommend, just to give you like a starting point if you don't want to do all of this research on your own. So for YA romance, I would recommend Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. For fantasy, I'd recommend Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. For YA series, you should read the Inheritance Games trilogy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Romance, you should read Beach Read or Really Any Book by Emily Henry. And then for thriller, I'd recommend The Guest List. Okay, after you've done your research, or you've picked one of my 5 books, or you've talked to a friend or anything like that, it's time to finally pick a book. So you can pick one book. You could go in with like a list of books, or you could even just pick a few genres and then look at books wherever you decide to consume your books. And when you're picking a book, don't be afraid to pick like the overly popular ones that are like thrown in your face all the time, because they're popular for a reason, and I definitely think you should try them out. I know some people kind of have like a stigma around like the really popular books, like especially Colleen Hoover, who went very viral. It's like they were popular and viral for a reason, and I think you should at least try them out, and then you'll know. Worst case, you'll know you don't like that stuff, or it's like, okay, that just got me into reading, and then you can try some less popular options once you've gotten a good groove going. Okay, now that you have your list or book in mind, you can go ahead and go to the library if you chose that, the bookstore, or go ahead and download the Kindle app, and you can browse the books there while you're there, see if anything else jumps out at you. But I wouldn't pick a book completely blind. Like, even if you see it at the bookstore, you grab it off the shelf and you read the back. Hopefully you do read the back, I would say that for sure. I would still do a little bit of research on it online before you buy it, especially because you're new to reading. It could have something terribly triggering, like not something you'd enjoy. I would definitely still research at least a little bit before you buy it. And one other thing I want to mention in this category is that if you're going to be buying a book, make it fun. Like, make it a whole event. Dress up cute if you want, buy yourself a coffee, like do your makeup if you want to, anything like that to like make it fun and eventful for you. I think like making it a whole event and like a fun thing, like take cute pictures, all that kind of stuff, I enjoy that more. And once I started doing that, I really loved going to the bookstore, and I still do. Okay, the next step is to absolutely romanticize reading. And I want to emphasize that because this is the part where you can really make it your own and so fun and like such a relaxing, cozy hobby if you romanticize it that way. Or you can make it like educational, you can make it something that you go outside to do and you get fresh air, like all that kind of stuff. However you want to romanticize reading, do it, because it'll make it so much more enjoyable for you to read. So one thing, if you don't know where to start with this, you can definitely scroll Pinterest and like look up reading aesthetics and just scroll through that and see like what other people do to romanticize reading. Or you can even search romanticizing reading on Pinterest. I'm sure there's like a bunch of good stuff, and that will help you with like kind of a starting point. And then this is the fun part, you can start buying bookish things to help romanticize reading. I'm going to show you some of my favorite bookish things that I've bought. Bookmarks, especially if you're reading physical books, they're just so fun to like pick out. Like, these are Fourth Wing related, these are just plain ones, but you can like color on them and like pick the tassels. And then these are little magnetic ones. Like, you can pick the cutest little bookmarks and have it peeking out of your book, and it's just romanticizing your reading. And there's a lot of options on Etsy, there's options everywhere, or you can make your own. That's always a fun craft too. And then you can also get like book sleeves to help protect your books, but you can also get cute ones and stuff that like you enjoy picking out and buying. And then if you went the Kindle route, you can get like a cute clear case and then put stickers in it, and you can change them out. There's tons of bookish stickers on Etsy and stuff, and it's just so fun to do, and it makes reading just a little bit more fun because you get to do cute, fun stuff like this. And then also, to romanticize reading, you need to make reading like a cozy or calm or educational setting for you. So for me, I really like the cozy reading aesthetic. So anytime I read, I think about this, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna grab a nice comfy blanket, I'm gonna set an ambiance video on my TV, I'm gonna light a candle, and I'm gonna dim the lights, and it's gonna be like a whole event. That is something that I literally look forward to every single day when I come home at night. I want to set up my cozy reading ambiance and read. But if the cozy vibe like isn't for you, figure out what vibe you really want to do and have while you're reading, and do that. If you really want it to be a calming experience for you, you could put on some white noise or some calming music. You could get like an essential oil diffuser going and have some tea and read, and it will make reading so much more enjoyable. And by making it something that you really look forward to doing, it's going to be fun, and you're going to want to keep up with it because it's not going to be something you dread. It's going to be something that you look forward to at the end of the day. Okay, the next big category is that you need to dedicate real time to reading. And I don't mean 10 minutes here and there. You need to actually dedicate a chunk of your time for reading, or else you're never going to stick with it, especially at the beginning. If you only read for 10 minutes every single day, I don't think realistically you'll stick with it, because that's something that I started doing when I first got back into reading. Once I went back to school, I stopped reading for an hour every day. I would just read like 10 minutes, and it completely made me go into a book slump. I think if you read at least 30 minutes to an hour, it doesn't have to be every single day, but at least every other day. Because if you read 10 minutes on Monday and then you don't pick it back up till the next week, like, I honestly think you'll forget what you read, and then it won't be as enjoyable. At least for me, every single book that I've absolutely loved, I've read in either one sitting or like 2 days really quickly. It's because like once you get into the book, you just want to finish it. But if you're reading for 10 minutes, it's going to drag out, it's going to feel so long, and you're not going to like it as much. Maybe don't start a book until you have the proper time allocated for it. Especially starting a new book is kind of hard to get into. If you only give it 10 minutes, you're gonna feel like the book is dragging on at the beginning. If you can set like at least an hour or 30 minutes to get through the beginning of the book, then the good stuff starts happening and then you're gonna be hooked. And if it really is taking you way too long to get into a book, not because like of the time you've given it, but maybe just because you don't like it, maybe it's a sign that you don't like it, and you can just try a different one. It's okay to not finish a book. I think especially at the beginning, if you're reading and you're like, nope, I don't like this, like it's gonna put me in a book slump, stop and get a new book. It is okay if you DNF a book because a better one is waiting for you. And then you really need to just keep going. Do not give up. You'll find a book that you love, and it might take 4 or 5 books to actually find a book that you really love. It might only take 1 book. Don't get discouraged and keep trying, keep researching, keep talking to people. You'll find a book, and once you find that first book that you absolutely fall in love with, it's really just gonna take off and you're gonna love reading because of that feeling that you got when you first read the book that you absolutely fell in love with. There's just nothing like it, and you're gonna be chasing that for probably the rest of your life. I know I will. And reading slumps are normal. I promise. I've had so many reading slumps. I still get so many reading slumps. And sometimes you read a book and you're just like, oh. And then you read another book and you're like, oh. Especially when like they just keep happening in a row, you kind of start losing that momentum of reading until you find another book that you absolutely love, then you go back up. Don't give up. Reading slumps are hard to get over, but I do have a few tips for you. So whenever I'm in a reading slump, I'll start searching book talk especially and be like, okay, what's the really popular book right now that everyone's loving, because odds are I'll love it. And so I'll start doing that, pick a book that's really popular, and then usually that will help me get out of a book slump if it's really good. Or I usually pick really short books, that way at like when I finish I'm like, oh, I finished that so quick, like that was good. And then it kind of sparks that joy of reading back up again. Or I'll pick a thriller because it keeps me entertained and like the suspense keeps me wanting to keep reading, and then usually by the end I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming, and then I'll read book after book after book again. So those are just a few tips if you are in a reading slump. Okay, so after you've done everything else I recommended, odds are you're probably loving reading, and in order to kind of continue your love for reading, I think that you should follow book influencers on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, because they're constantly going to be putting out more content for you to consume and more book recommendations for you to continue your love of books. And then if a book club is something that might seem interesting to you, and if you want to like connect with people in your community and talk about books with people and just have a great time, I think book clubs are a great way to continue your love for reading, because every month you're going to be given a book to read, and at least you read that book that month, and it makes you not give up reading. You can also talk to people in your community and find more book recs, and they can help you with your reading slumps and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a great option too. And there's a lot of Discords now that are basically book clubs but just virtual ones, so those are really cool too if you don't have access to a physical book club in your community. And also with book clubs and Discords and all that, you're gonna be able to make new friends and then ask them questions about books. You can both buddy read books and all this stuff, like send each other book stuff. It's just so fun to be part of the book community, and I think it's really gonna help you continue reading and be a part of something so fun and helpful for everybody. This is everything I think that you need to do in order to fall in love with reading. I mean, this is what I did, and I absolutely fell in love with reading. I mean, this isn't even all of my books, and it's like a big part of my life. It completely changed my life. It's my best hobby, my favorite thing to do ever, and I really hope that this video helps people out there. Please feel free to share your reading experience or journey or advice in the comments below so we can help other readers. And if you have good book recommendations for new readers, put them down below as well, so that way we can all help each other and just continue to build the book community. It's such a fun part to be a part of this, and I hope that more people join. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do have other book videos if you want to watch a few. I'll link them down below, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I'll see you in the next video.